I've only been back in New Zealand for 2 days. I just published a video about my journey to America. And part of me wishes I was still there right now. Because what just happened hit me like a ton of bricks. After months of shouting scam, since the 1st of September 2025, after documenting emails, contracts, dashboards, lawsuits, and delays, the United States government arrested the CEO of Goliath Ventures. And let's just call him Christopher, because I can't pronounce his last name properly, and alleged it was a $328 million Ponzi scheme. I didn't expect it to land the way it did. And I'll be honest, I'm sure you can understand this, it actually made me cry. It was a relief. Not because it was a surprise, but because of what it means. For a YouTuber who's been warning people for months, this is vindication. But for the victims, this is devastation. And while some of us feel validation, others are now facing the brutal reality that their life savings, their retirement funds, even the mortgage on their home may be gone. And that kind of a loss doesn't just hurt financially, it tears through people emotionally. As the shock sets in, there will be grief, then anger, then rage. As I said in a previous video that was recorded in America, there's 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Where are you at right now? I think we're past denial, and I think anger is where a lot of people will be right now. People will look for someone to blame. They will look for somewhere to turn. My inbox is filling up. My messages have never lit up so much. I've never had 30 people waiting in my waiting room for my YouTube videos. So thank you to everyone that's here. I wanted to get this blog I've done online immediately. You'll find the link in the description of the video that you're watching right now. And there's also the document that I was given even before the head investigation had actually got his hands on it. That tells you how well connected we are, the Avengers. They actually phoned me wanting to know how I got my hands on it before them. And they were awesome. They gave me accolades, which I humbly had to take, which I don't like praise. But it's been a team effort this all the way through with my Avengers and the people that have helped me fight this. I put everything into this. And, we just wanted an indictment, and he's arrested the mongrel. Oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say mongrel. In New Zealand, it means a dog that's bred with other dogs. But I know in America it means something else, but we call people that. They looked for somewhere to turn. My inbox is filling up. I've said that already. I wanted to get this blog online. I've said that already. So we're going to look at the claim, documented facts, the federal complaint, the charge, the victim's contact information, and the reality of where this stands now. The investigator who rang me today said to me, this is just the beginning. And he said that so many other people were going down. I even received a phone call from Tyler. Now, people who've been watching me, I've got a phone call from Tyler asking me where he should send victims. And I said to him, I'm going to play the recording because I can't understand the mentality of this guy. But before we break it down, I want to say something clearly. If you invested in this and you're feeling sick to your stomach right now, you are not stupid. I do this for a living. I've been doing this for 5 years. And I used to think people were greedy who invested in these things. I think it's a form of gambling, and there isn't a label for it yet. Maybe we'll call it the Goliath something. But people don't feel that you're stupid. These guys are the professionals. They used every technique known to man to convince and build trust with you and then defraud you of your money. They sold a story and they delivered it well. You were shown dashboards. You were given contracts that looked official from lawyers like Eric Clayman. Eric Clayman is an investor in Goliath who wrote his own contract for Goliath, who's even sent out newsletters for Goliath, and now washes hands from Goliath, thinking he can walk away from this. Well, you're not getting away with this, Eric Clayman. You're going to be stripped of your lawyership, and you will be charged or arrested or jailed for your activity. You were an instigator. You were somebody who endorsed bad behavior. So you were told that your principal was protected. So this moment is heavy. It's heavy for victims, and it's heavy for people's families. And yes, it's heavy for those of us who have been documenting it in real time. We're going to walk through exactly what the United States government has alleged calmly, factually, and step by step. Now, I got a message from one individual who had a bond over him, and his family had actually revoked the bond, and he went to jail because he was talking to me. So this is a real life story. After this person went to jail, we started getting emails telling us to F off, and they were all from the family who had tried to stop this individual blowing the whistle. This man that went to jail because he was speaking to us, trying to help us, shows you how dirty these guys are. Now, I live in New Zealand, and for me to even travel to America and risk being in Orlando was a big ask. And I went under there undercover. A lot of people think I went over there to speak and help with the investigation. Well, you're wrong. On the last day of my trip in America, I reached out to the head investigators and I said to them, if I ever traveled to America, would you guys want to catch up? And they said, sure. And then I said, well, if you cover my costs for accommodation, I'll extend my time before I come home. And they said they don't have the budget to do that. So, but I just wanted people to know that I wasn't there helping authorities. But, you know, I received an amazing phone call today, and I still can't tell you the full story of what's happening at the moment. But I just, you know, like there's lots of things, you know, this is everything for what I do. And this is a lot, you know, when you're getting asked how we come across certain information from the head investigators, it certainly shows you that we have made a bit of a difference. So as per normal, I want to go through this blog. Now, remember the link to this blog is actually in the description of this video, and you'll find a blog, and you'll be able to read the indictment and everything. And also, Christopher is arrested. Somebody was trying to mislead me and telling me that it was somewhere when he wasn't. You know, and I get this sort of stuff. So you got, you know, it's everyone's panicking at the moment. It's amazing how many people are trying to. I just saw a message, and some people are panicking on what to do now. Just calm the farm. If there's any assets left over there, they're now secured. There's no more people going to get defrauded by this. However, a couple of things. There's the document that we all want to see. This is the United States of America versus Christopher Alexander Delgado. And there's the complaint there. Now, we have got some funny things here to show you. You can get your own doll for Lord Delgado, crypto convict. He's even got the right number on there, and he's even got the logo on there, and he's even wearing a Rolex in prison, which I don't think is quite right. But if you want to get your doll, you remember here. Also, we've got all the crypto wallets available now. Some things that I can tell you, like there was some money done with Uniswap. It was stupid money, like $29,000 or $26,000. But we now have a list of all the crypto wallets that were used. And we'll show you how that adds up to something else as well. If you haven't been to my website, please do go there. And if you can support me in any which way or form, I've just spent a lot of money going to America. And it's just, I've put everything into this. Honestly, I've put everything into this. But I just want to show you something funny. All right. So I have a T-shirt, which is on the line because I wore it. And it's a Goliath Ventures T-shirt. And an investor who had bravely come forward actually gave me a T-shirt. And I'll tell you, it's probably the $720,000 T-shirt that's talked about in the indictment. But if you want one of those Goliath Ventures T-shirts, that's great. But I just this morning, before I even received the indictment, I've actually now come up with a new T-shirt, which I think is quite funny. And you'll see here, Goliath Ventures T-shirts. So by all means, I'll chuck that in there. I'm not asking you to support me by buying a T-shirt. Well, if you can support me by doing donations with things, that would be nice. It does keep the ball rolling. And we've been doing this for 5 months, and it just it's not a financial thing that we do this, but it does hurt. Anyway, so I wanted to go through and read this blog, but I just thought that would be quite funny there. Let's go. Let's have a read.
When we began documenting Goliath Ventures on the 1st of September, 2025, we were told it was just a liquidity delay. Months later, after emails, lawsuits and shifting explanations, the United States government has now stepped in with a federal arrest and a 29-page criminal complaint, alleging a $328 million Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, now the funny thing that I just sent Tyre, his girlfriend, a message, and I'll see if I can find that amongst all these messages. But she wrote to me and it looked like Chris used her phone. And I said to her, because she said Chris is the nicest guy ever and he's just trying to help people build their futures. So I wrote back, I'll actually see if I can actually find the actual messages. Okay, so this is her message to me originally. Hopefully it reads.
It's honestly surprising how much time you've spent talking about someone you've never even met. If you actually knew Chris, you'd see the genuine, kind-hearted person he is. It's unfortunate that you feel the need to tear down innocent people. That says far more about the world you live in than anything else. If you took the time to know him, you'd realize Chris would never take advantage of anyone or scheme in absolutely any way. The irony is that you even called him on his birthday to sing to him. We still have the voicemail. That alone shows how inconsistent your behavior has been. I'll stand by him through all of this. If you think you're going to take him down, you're mistaken. All you're doing is making him stronger. Keep that in mind. Have a good day.
Well, I'm keeping that in mind, Ty. Ty is Christopher's girlfriend, and that was the message I received. And I don't think Ty actually wrote that. I think Christopher would have taken her phone off her. And I also rang him up and left a message on his answer machine singing him happy birthday when it was his birthday. He's only 35 years of age, I think. Anyway, today I did send another message, which I haven't had a reply to. It said, boyfriend been arrested. He's a lovely guy. I just had to, and I'm trying to rub salt on her, but we've even done welfare checks on her because we've heard some terrible things. So hopefully this is closure for her and she can move on. She won't be living the same lifestyle. In fact, if you want to find another $1 million to claim back, she's got quite an impressive handbag collection, which I'm sure she'll be trying to hide in the back of her wardrobe out now. But this is the reality. This is the reality of what happens when people get arrested. An indictment is what we were hoping for. We had 3 stupid court cases when even I was in front of Fox 35 News and NBC News and also Channel 9 News. They were looking at the first 3 court cases and they were in-house squabbles. Now, Nick Petrillo, you'll be the next person to get arrested, so wouldn't bother fleeing the country right now because there's no point. They'll be watching you in your passport. I can assure you of that. But you had 900 clients under Nick Petrillo. So Nick Petrillo has 900 clients. And I know for a fact that he's already had knocks on the door. And I also know that victims have had knocks from the door from the FBI asking them to identify Nick Petrillo. So he's buggered. He's going to be the next person. Remember, you're going to hear it here first, which is quite amazing. So Nick Petrillo has 900 clients underneath his umbrella. Now, if you're looking to do court cases and try to claim your money back, a good thing about it, all the partners that were in Goliath Ventures set up LLC companies. And that means that you can go after their companies and take all their assets too. So rather than just going after Chris's assets, go under the LLC partners who are all executives. And then when we come across that recording, we're told to set up LLC companies, and then they were to pay Goliath Ventures under their umbrella. And that was meant to form a legal barrier. How's that working for you now? So just to put it in perspective, I've often said that by setting up a company and doing it like this, it's money laundering. So here's the press release. Goliath Ventures CEO arrested for wire fraud and money laundering. I mean, there you are. This is on the government website. And that was on the 24th of February, which is the 25th of February. This is just launched today. And I was the one that told the head investigator about this being published already, because I asked him, can you tell me anything about the arrest? And I said, I don't really know, and I can't share it yet. And I said, well, it's on the government website already. And he goes, oh, really? So, it shows you how much on the finger of the pulse that my team of Avengers are actually. United States, Christopher Alexander Delgado case. I'm going to read these, but first I'm going to read my blog. Don't forget to get the merch. All right, so we've got a lot of people. So I did have one other message from Tyler, and I actually want to play this before we get going. I just want to get the good stuff under. Listen to this phone call. G'day, mate.
Well, I take it you're aware?
Oh, yeah, I'm about to do a video all about it, mate.
I figured it was.
I actually told Homeland Security about the him being arrested before they knew.
About what?
I even told Homeland Security about the arrest before they even knew.
Oh, okay. Yeah. What do you, are you willing to talk to me, get a little bit of info or no?
So I'll show you this in a minute. What do you want?
I just want to know what we should do as investors for next step, if you know, or.
Yeah, I know everything, mate. I went to America. I just got home 2 days ago.
Yeah, no. Yeah. I figured you posted after you got home.
So let me get this right. So you boo-hooed me about everything I've done, criticised me, keep your money in the platform, and now it's all fallen over and Chris has been arrested. You now rung me up for help.
No, I never criticized you or anything. I just silently listened to what you posted. But yeah, I just figured if you have any info on what investors should do, that way I can.
I do. Well, you've been watching my videos then, I take it.
What was that?
You've been watching my videos, I take it, and I've got a link where you can go to tinyurl.com. It's tinyurl.com/Goliath Ventures Inc. And that will give you a form that you can cut and copy and then email it back to me. All the instructions are all on it.
Okay. So
are you a bit nervous though? Are you nervous that you could be implemented in all this?
No, I'm just an investor. I didn't do anything.
Well, you were celebrating with Christopher in Munich for one thing.
Yeah, but that doesn't have anything to do with me.
And you invested in the company. Did you recruit anyone else into it?
Sorry, did what?
Did you recruit anybody else into this?
No, I'm just an investor.
Right, and
That's what I've been telling you.
Did you know anyone else that was invested that you could have helped us with this investigation?
I know a lot of investors, but a lot of them either got their money back or tried to get their money back, or
but
have been waiting on the sidelines.
See, you only worried about yourself. So you actually hindered our investigation by not providing those names. So you're kind of like involved in this, whether you like it or not now, because we asked you, and I've got recordings, obviously, of people's names, and you wouldn't give us any information. So you held back information right up until we've got an arrest, and now you're ringing up asking how to get your money back. It's pretty amazing.
No, like I said from the beginning, I don't want to get involved in your investigation, but
yeah,
I just want to
you held information back from us because you've literally stopped giving us information. You've never given us any information except worrying about your own ask, and you've just admitted that you've got people that you knew had invested, but you didn't give us any information. So that's called, you're helping Christopher. You're aiding Christopher in his criminal activities, and now he's been arrested. This is the fastest arrest ever in the history of the head investigator who's been doing this for 20 years. He said he's never seen anything move so swiftly. And now you ring me up on the same day asking me still to cover your own ass.
Yeah, but you saying that I know investors just because I
No,
met
you said that.
investors.
You just said that to
Yeah.
me, that you
No, I
know
know, but
investors.
you're assuming I just know all these investors. Reality, I met investors through all the Goliath stuff. It's not just like I know this guy down the street that invested, that type of
Oh
stuff.
no, but you've
no,
got
I just was
names.
calling.
You've got names of individuals that have invested, and you haven't told us those names because you don't want to get involved.
Exactly, but
So you've just admitted it again. You're unreal, mate.
Just
You need
follow.
to go to a shrink and get yourself analysed.
Anyways, I'm just trying to help other people as
No,
you
you're
are.
not. You're trying to
So
help yourself.
give them
Now you want to know
the-
how to get your money back. You're just you're absolutely the dumbest motherfucker in America,
doubt,
mate. Sorry.
I doubt we're getting our money back. However, I just wanted to point people in the right direction. That's what I
Oh,
was
it's a
asking
bit
you,
late now,
if you
mate.
knew.
I'm just going to make sure that everyone knows what part you played in this.
But that's fine. I don't have an issue with that. But no, if you're trying to protect people as much as you say you are, I came to you asking what people should do. That
You
way
come to
people
us
ask
3
me
months
that I
ago
know.
and wasted a whole lot of our time and energy. You could have done a lot better to help us. You didn't help us with anything other than getting.
Anyway, so
you went to Munich and celebrated Chris while he's stealing people's monies.
Besides going back previously, what I'm saying is if I come across people that don't know what to do with investments in Goliath, that's why I'm asking you what I should do as well to help point them in the right direction. That's all I'm asking.
You're a hero,
Not anything
mate.
prior.
You're a hero.
No.
How do you sleep
I'm not
at
trying
night?
to be a hero.
You celebrate with Chris.
I'm
You
trying
know
to help
Christopher was a criminal and you celebrated with him. You went to Munich and clashed beer with him while he's stealing $380 million on people. You facilitate the scam. That's what you
Danny,
are.
Do you hear what I'm asking?
Mate, I hear what you're asking me because
out,
you're asking me stupid stuff, mate. If you know anyone, if people don't know what to do, I'll help you. That's what you're saying, but you're not holding. You've got to take some responsibility for your own actions.
Okay, can you just answer that question? That's really all I'm asking. If people reach out and need to know what to do you have any recommendation, or
Yes.
should I just?
Yes, I know exactly what to do, and I've been doing
Okay.
videos about it. It's all over my
Okay.
website.
But I'm saying if people don't know who you are, which I doubt it, like I'm saying is, could you let me know what I should do in that terms? That's all I'm asking. Not anything about previous or
Well, have you
any sort of bad blood or anything.
have you been on my website?
Not recently.
Well, maybe if you start doing something proactive rather than just go to my website, theheck.com, and there's a link that says Goliath Ventures, and it has all the information in that page, what people need to do. And all my last blog that I've done gives people information on how to fill out a form and provide it to us. I spoke to the head investigator about an hour ago, and literally what you need to do is this is the beginning, and now it's going to come after all the other scumbags that sat there and helped him facilitate this fraud. So everybody who's been associating with him in aeroplanes, driving around, cheering glasses with him, next stage is starting. Everybody's going to come down who's been associated with Christopher.
Sure, anybody that's done wrongdoing absolutely should. But
And you think you're an angel, do you? Do you really think you're an angel?
I'm not talking about me, dude. I'm just trying to figure out what to do. And is
Well,
that form?
you're trying to be a hero.
Right?
You're trying to be a hero
No,
now
I don't
and
wanna
trying
be
to
a hero
help
at
other
all. I
people.
just
It's a
want
bit
to-
late, mate. You're waving your flag at the finish line and you are part of the problem.
Okay. I feel like this isn't really going anywhere.
No,
You're
it's not.
willing
I
to
don't even
listen
know
to
why
me.
you rang me up. You really need to go talk to a psychiatrist.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for the help.
You can get off my phone now. Yeah. So, I wanted you to hear that because that guy rang us up and provided us no information whatsoever other than, is my money safe? And he owns a jet ski business based in California. And honestly, I just think he's got ear between his ears. And he's not a victim. He is part of the problem. All the people that were endorsing, like the party, the $5 million Christmas do, it just absolutely gets me. So I'm going to get back onto my blog and we're going to read it with the voice. It said, after months of documenting stalled withdrawals, broken joint venture guarantees, repeated holding patterns, emails, and mounting civil lawsuits, the Goliath Ventures story has now crossed the line from investor dispute to federal criminal prosecution. Wow. Christopher, 34, CEO of Goliath Ventures, formerly known from, now this is interesting because these names are all coming out now. We've researched every single name that this company was associated to. We found it. Gen Z Ventures firm has been arrested and charged in the United States. Christopher versus the United States. Isn't that just amazing? So there's the case number if you want it. According to a 29-page federal criminal complaint filed in the Middle District of Florida, Christopher allegedly operated Goliath as a Ponzi scheme. Now, when I was in the New York Times and they did a 2-page spread in the printed edition about me, they called me the crypto Ponzi scheme Avenger. And just recently I've backed out from using the crypto Ponzi scheme Avenger to just Danny de Heck, because I don't really know much about crypto. But I do know a lot about Ponzi schemes. So the fact that the government is now calling this a Ponzi scheme, I think might have destroyed all hope. Raising at least 328 million from investors between January 2023 right through to January 2026, which is wicked. We even heard that there was P.S. Curry, which is another person I hope they go after, was running Zoom meetings encouraging people to invest, offering them 8% return per month. If convicted on all counts of wire fraud and money laundering, he faces up to 30 years in federal prison. Now, all you partners who think you didn't really get involved, people like Tyler, who was endorsing bad behavior, if Christopher's getting 30 years, potentially, then what could you get by facilitating and perhaps turning a blind eye to what you're seeing because you're going, oh, I'm just going to play negligence. Negligence is not an excuse for bad behavior. This is not regular noise. This is a sworn federal affidavit supported by bank records, blockchain tracing, and financial analysis. The official federal announcement. The first confirmation came in the Department of Justice press release titled Goliath Ventures CEO arrested for wire fraud and money laundering, issued on February the 24th, which is, I'm in the 25th, so it's yesterday's newspaper. Maybe that's why we're so much on top of these scams, because we're in the forefront of this battle by a day. We've got a day up our sleeve to give these announcements out. By the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Middle District of Florida. Now, I think we have to actually go to that and have a quick read of what they say. So there's the letter. I will put it in the chat room in a second. I think Susie, my number one Avenger, I don't know, you might be close. There's another Avenger. We've got lots of help from our Avengers with this, but let's have a listen to this. It's going to be better than me reading it.
Orlando, Florida, Christopher Alexander Delgado, 34, Apica, has been arrested on a criminal complaint charging him with wire fraud and money laundering. If convicted on all counts, Delgado faces a maximum penalty of 30 years in federal prison. United States Attorney Gregory W. Kyo made the announcement. According to the complaint, Delgado was the president and chief executive officer of Goliath Ventures, formerly known as Gen Z Venture Firm, from January 2023 through January 2026. Delgado operated Goliath as a Ponzi scheme, which is a form of investment fraud that involves the payment of purported returns to existing investors from funds contributed by new investors. Delgado's scheme involved soliciting victims to invest substantial sums of money under false and fraudulent promises of monthly returns generated through cryptocurrency liquidity pools. Victims were induced to give money to Goliath through personal referrals, professional marketing materials, luxury events, charitable sponsorships, and some monthly payments of purported returns, all of which were designed to establish Goliath's bona fides with investors. Based on these false and fraudulent representations, Goliath obtained at least $328 million from victim investors. Although Goliath represented that it would place the victim investors' funds in cryptocurrency liquidity pools, in reality, the funds were primarily used to pay purported returns to earlier investors, to return a principal to investors who requested it, and for Goliath's extravagant business gatherings, holiday parties, and luxury travel accommodations. With victim investors' funds, Delgado purchased 4 residential properties, each worth between $1.15 million and $8.5 million. Victims identified by law enforcement will directly receive notice of their rights, pursuant to the Crime Victims' Rights Act. If you believe you're a victim and have not otherwise received notice, please email Goliath Victims at ci.irs.gov. You can also visit https://justice.gov/USAOMDFL/Goliath Ventures for more information on how to self-identify yourself to law enforcement. A criminal complaint is merely an allegation that a defendant has committed one or more violations of federal criminal law, and every defendant is presumed innocent unless, and until, proven guilty. This case is being investigated by the Internal Revenue Service Criminal Investigation and Homeland Security Investigations. It is being prosecuted by Assistant United States Attorneys Richard Verridon, Noah P. Doman, and Hannah Now Watson.
Yeah, so everything we said. Now, we've always said 6 different government agencies have been investigating this. And there is, they have missed a couple out of here that we know that are investigating. So it's pretty cool. But there is an email address here too, where you can actually email anything to them. And, you know, we don't get paid for doing this. So if you want to support me in any which way, please do buy me a cup of coffee or go to my website and see that. But now you can email all your shit to the government instead of me, and it will save me a lot of time and energy and worry and concern. We spend most of our time helping and talking to victims, nice victims, not like Tyler, the dumbass. But why I mentioned that too, and why you might have noticed, I've actually got this undercover in Florida exposing Goliath Ventures. And in here, I actually went and had a look at everything Christopher was doing. And this video will blow you away. This is my trip. So it premieres, I'm going to put the link to this video in the chat room. Please do bookmark it, and please do watch this video. Oh, I haven't got the right thing, but oh, maybe if I go down here, hold it 1 minute, please, caller. But that was literally just published. Then we saw a policeman who talking to somebody out the window of their car. Next minute, here we had some fun. I've just stuffed up my chat window here, but I just want you guys to bookmark that video, and when it premieres, I'd love you to have a look at that. But that shows you my journey and actually some of the things that we were getting up to. Lots happened. So anyway, so that's the first letter. The second one is the announcement confirms, I think we're going to double up here, but we had, it confirms the potential of maximum 30 years with, now I've always said that sometimes these guys only get like 5 or 10 years and hide all their money in crypto and then come out and they're rich. But if he gets 30 years in prison, he will probably be trying to help with their investigation as much as possible to get that sentence down as much. But imagine living a life of, you know, $4 million cars, $8.5 million house, offices in downtown Orlando, and all this sort of carry on, and then traveling around, even though the jet airline, one of the jet airline companies, 723,000 Ks for not paying his jet bills. All of a sudden, that lifestyle stripped away from you, and you're now spending 30 years in prison. Federal prison. We should go visit him. Anyone want to take me to visit Christopher and document it? I'm open. It confirms that the United States Attorney has made the announcement. It confirms the case has been investigated by the IRS Criminal Investigation. And of course, my heroes, which I were told that they may have not been the strongest investigators, but the head investigator was biting at the bone to get this case. And there were some moments there where he probably couldn't take on the case. For example, they were based in New Jersey. So they were asking me, do we know anyone in New Jersey that had invested? And then we found the key that they were looking for, which meant that this head investigator could actually take this investigation to a next level. He said in his 20 years of history of doing investigations, this has been the fastest indictment they've actually come across and arrest. So that is worth its weight in gold. It also names the prosecutors handling the case. What's it? Assistants?
Assistant United States Attorneys.
Yeah, so I won't read them all because I'll get their names wrong. The second official government page titled Goliath Ventures United States versus Christopher Delgado, I'm going to get that right one day, provides the formal case listing, victims, notification, details, access to criminal complaint and related documents is now fully on, it's on a record. So you just can't make this shit up anymore. Now, I'm probably not going to read all this, but it does talk about Gen Ventures firm. It talks about how much they've so far gathered. Talks about the victims that have come forward, and it's also got a whole lot of other emails where you can email them as well. So by all means, read those documents if you are a victim. Reach out to us. We're very happy to help you. And, you know, who knows if they can recover the money. I mean, if I was Christopher and I'm going to spend 30 years in prison and there was any money left, would you really want money in the bank doing nothing, or in crypto doing nothing, or spending 30 years of your life? That means he's not going to be able to get out of jail until he's 64 years of age. Just in time for retirement, Chris. Hey, when did they have TV in jail? Now, there's somebody that can watch I've done 30 videos and 30 blogs on exposing Goliath Ventures. Now, Christopher will probably be one of the only people that will actually probably watch all my videos from A to Z. Oh, my goodness. The contracts that promised protection. And also, I'm just going to do a little wee bit of something else that's really interesting here. This is an email I received from Christopher's lawyers today. This was sent. There's a letter basically stating that they want to, I can't make it any bigger, unfortunately. I don't think I can. I just made it bigger. But this is them telling us about a meeting they want to arrange. Now, the ironic thing about this letter here that I received from their lawyers today, Christopher's lawyers sent me messages today, just process that because I was representing myself, that means that I would be able to do, let's say, discovery and ask all the questions they want to ask people that they are demanding to give evidence, because everyone's trying to figure out who's bankrolling me. And they even had my neighborhood staked out, and these people found out where I lived and knocked on my door. So this is the dirty tactics. They'd already offered me $150,000 to remove my videos and also write a Dear John letter and hand over the people that have been informing me with information, which is my Avengers. Absolutely crazy, batshit crazy. And then they returned, knocked on my door, and offered me a new deal, which I wouldn't listen to unless I could record it. But these shady individuals, these private investigators they hired from Auckland that staked out my neighborhood to find out where I live, actually wouldn't put it on camera. Now, does that tell you it's legitimate, or does it tell you that they are doing something illegal? Well, now we know the lengths that these guys went to. Now, that was quite scary, I'll be honest. And I've got that video, and one day I'll put it online, but that's what they went and did. And then their lawyers are still trying to intimidate me and people who may be speaking out. So I've seriously put everything on the line for this. The contracts that promise protection. The indictment is not just about marketing language. Is that right? The indictment?
Indictment is not just about marketing language.
It refers actual joint venture agreements signed by investors. So according to the complaint, investors were told their funds would be deployed into currency liquidity pools. Monthly returns of anything from 3 to 8%, this is what we've been saying all along, would be generated. Some returns were described as guaranteed, unreal. Principal would be returned without,
Diminution or impairment.
I don't even know what that word is. Withdrawals would be processed within 5 to 7 days. Investors could remove funds at any time. So there's all the things they said that could happen that obviously couldn't happen. And we now know that all the exit strategies that people have signed, you can actually see didn't work. All right, those were not vague sales claims. They were contractual representations. The federal government now urges those representations, urges that they were false, of course.
Alleges those representations were materially false.
And also, just to keep, while I'm on my high horse, there was one other thing that was really exciting. While I was talking to Homeland Security, I told them about our next investigation. And I named the individuals, and he said, we've been so busy head down, bum up doing this Goliath one, I haven't looked at your information about my next one. I can assure you that the next one is very much the same as Goliath that we're going to go after. And anyone that's been watching my videos will know what I'm talking about. So we're going to start investigating another Ponzi scheme and scam. If you're involved in any company that's offering 3 to 8% returns or claiming they're doing so, it's a no-brainer. There's no money in, liquidity pool pancake swaps. There's no money in it. There's not enough money to make the returns they claim. So anyone that talks that high jargon is just lying to you. And we've already found another company doing the same thing. So they're going to be coming down as well. And that's our next investigation. And we're serious about that. And if you watch the video that's about to launch, you will see that I actually talk about that company. What investigators say actually happened, according to an affidavit, although Goliath represented Sorry, I'm a bit out of kilter after that. I'm just going to read this to get my flow back.
According to the affidavit, although Goliath represented that investor funds would be placed into liquidity pools, little to none of the money was actually invested in liquidity pools.
Yeah, so what they said was happening did not happen. Blockchain analysis allegedly showed that approximately $1.5 million was sent to Uniswap. So they say that $1.5 million was sent to Uniswap out of hundreds of millions raised. So 1.5 million, and we're talking a 328, is it? Ponzi scheme. So that's basically nothing. So the majority of where the money was coming from wasn't real. Instead, investigators urged that investors' funds were the primary used to pay. I'm just going to read those again. But basically, it's a Ponzi scheme. So all the money that was coming in was paying old investors.
Pay purported returns to earlier investors, return principal to investors who demanded withdrawals, fund extravagant business gatherings and holiday parties, cover luxury travel accommodations, purchase high-value residential real estate.
You might look at me shaking my head, but it isn't disgusting that they just pissed everyone's money away on alcohol, flights, and accommodation, and cars, and houses. That structure, if proven, fits the definitions of a Ponzi scheme, using new investor money to pay early investors while claiming legitimate profits. Bank accounts and money flow. So affidavits lay out specific accounts and amounts. So we actually shut down, I think, 2 of their bank accounts for sure. With the Bank of America, we actually managed to freeze one of their accounts, and it had $100 million worth of trading in that account. That was a lot for a company that claims that they're a crypto company. So approximately $253 million was deposited into JB Morgan and Chase business account by the end of, I think this is, I don't even know what ending. Into the bank account. So if you had deposited money and the last 0305 was the last digits, then you were one of the 253 million. 253 million was paid into a bank account. All right, approximately 75 million was deposited into the Bank of America accounts ending with 9136. I'm glad that they've got those account numbers here. And then approximately $62 million were received in Goliath Coinbase wallets. Now that's amazing because a friend of mine actually tracked what we thought was 66 million. I'm pretty sure it was 66 million roundabout. But what we're getting at, this was actually at least, they're saying, and there's more money out there. So all your contracts and all the wallet addresses that you have paid into, we really want those now so we can actually get a larger focus on actually how big this scam was. I have heard of friends that have loaned him over $500,000 that weren't invested. Things like this are still coming out of the woodwork. Now, get this, approximately 165 million was transferred from those banks into Coinbase. So that doesn't add up. So they were paying people from Coinbase. There's another video coming out in the not too distant future, which will really sort of, give more clout. Remember, I'm not a crypto guy. There are other people out there who are better explaining this than me, and will point you in the right direction when that happens. The complaint states Delgado, Christopher, was the sole signatory on the JB Morgan account, and controlled how investors' funds were allocated and transferred. Right, well, that's really cool. He was also the sole signatory of Goliath crypto wallets, and we'll probably find out more as Chris tries to help with the investigation to save his 30 years in prison. That level of direct financial control is central to the government's case. So they have the receipts, the dashboard allegations. I always think that says alligator. Maybe I've been in Florida too long. Investors were provided with access to an online portal that displayed monthly distribution rates, monthly distribution balances, and growing account titles. Now, it's a new word I hadn't heard of before we got access to the back end of Goliath Ventures website, was the hyper compounding interest that people could look in and see. So if you lodged a lawsuit, theoretically, say 6 months ago for $5 million, which one person did, then they were claiming that they now were entitled to $8 million in the lawsuit. And that's literally how. So if the lawsuit went on for another 10 years, you'd probably have $1 trillion using hyper-compounding, if that makes sense. Okay, instead, investigators claim the return was artificially calculated and manipulated to match the promised percentage return, creating the appearance of legitimate investor performance. One example included in the complaint shows an account reflecting 5% monthly distribution rate without underlying liquidity pool activity. Oh, look, I've got all that wrong, and I'm sorry, I'm not any good at reading, but I want to take this
Underlying
moment.
liquidity pool activity tied to it.
If proven, that would mean the dashboard was not reflecting trading profits, but manufacturing figures. Unreal. And this is what we see time and time again. I'm currently investigating over 200 Ponzi schemes. Nothing to this scale. Well, some of them are. But, when we see this, we just look at these things, and it only took one look at the contract. And I've always said the contract that Christopher gave. Now, imagine this. Imagine if you were Eric Clayman, who's watching this video right now. Hello, Eric. And you wrote the contracts for Goliath Ventures. You were also an investor in Goliath Ventures. And you also did mail newsletters for Goliath Ventures. The last newsletter came from the same MailChimp database that all the other newsletters came from. And Eric Clayman, whose offices were the actual same office address as Goliath Ventures. And now, you can see how fraudulent these contracts are. But I've always said the contracts are the sword, and that's the sword that they're going to fall on. As soon as I got my first inquiry from an email from a colleague, or let's call him an avenger, and they said, have you looked into Goliath Ventures? And I wrote back to them and said, have you got any evidence? And they said, yeah, I have a contract. And we got this little stamp size contract that I reconstructed with ChatGPT to actually look at what the contract was. And when I saw it, I said, that's the sword that they're going to fall on. And look at it now. This is exactly what has happened. The real estate purchases. So this is really interesting. We actually had 5 properties that he purchased, but we did hear one was for sale. We did hear that some of them have mortgages on them. But we can only do so much with open source intelligent investigations. But this is great that it's in the indictment. It says a list of specific properties allegedly purchased using investors' funds. Oh, that may be the difference. But I also would be interested to know where Andy, Chris's ex-wife, who owns her house, because that could be the next house to be taken. So anyway, you got Winter Park property. Is it Kissmere property? Windermere property? And Sanford property. So add all those up, and it's a lot of money. The complaint also refers to a $300,000 transaction in February the 1st, 2024, forming part of the money of the money laundering account. Unreal. I'm going to read this paragraph because I'm getting myself tongued up.
These allegations are not about lifestyle optics. They form part of the alleged criminal financial transactions underlying the charges.
Oh, it's just so much information. I just so much wanted to get this documented and out. I don't want to do another Goliath Ventures blog in my life. I've had enough. This is just amazing. I'm sitting here listening to this, literally some of it's for the first time. I haven't even gone through the 29 page document yet in its entirety. I just wanted to get it online. This is how I learn. Being dyslexic, I find it really difficult to actually absorb the content. An investor who lost $720,000. He actually gave me his T-shirt. I believe it's more than that, and I'll explain that more one day. But I actually have got the T-shirt that this individual I think they're talking about actually shared. Now, there's a very brave person. I've got. When I was in Florida. I went to. We had, I think, 8 different TV agencies and newspapers that we wanted to talk to about Goliath and blow the whistle on. And that's part of the main reason I went there. And everyone asked me, the first one I got was actually from Fox 35. Hi, Matt. I haven't got the shirt yet. But he said, oh, I want a victim. And I wrote back to one of my Avengers and I said, why does everyone just ask for victims? People just want a story. They want, somebody to stand up on a soapbox and yell out, I've been scammed, he did it, and I'm going after him. That's all they want. But victims are very hard to get. And this person, I've actually met this person face to face. They bought me lunch. They bought me some takeaway lunch, and we sat there in a room and had a heart-to-heart conversation. They even gave me, 1 minute, please. I've got it right. Where's my letter? Oh my goodness, have I not got the letter? I have got a letter, which I don't know what I did with. I have a actual letter from the government that was really interesting to read, and I put it somewhere safe because I wanted to keep it. They gave me this letter and said, you can have a copy of this. And it was from the government basically saying he's been defrauded. Also, he said, I've got something else for you. And I haven't got it. Hey, honey, can you get my black shirt off the line? I'm going to show you it. It was the most amazing gift I ever had. And it was the T-shirt he got when he signed up for Goliath Ventures. So I'm not taking the piss out of him by no means. This guy was distraught, and we've got a real bond connection with him and the Avengers. And I was sitting there, my heart rate was 70. His watch starts beeping. He said, "Oh, my heart rate's over 115." And I said, "Just sitting here, your heart rate is over 115 talking about this." And he was shaking. And it was obviously a real big thing. Thank you, honey. And then the next thing was, he said, my watch goes off when my heart rate gets under 115, but it normally goes up to 140 just talking about Goliath Ventures. And I can't comprehend that. And, like, this is why we do what we do. I had two firemen ring me up. They told me that they had invested $100,000 each. They said, but Chris has been in Forbes magazine. And I said, oh my goodness, everyone can be in Forbes magazine if you want to pay for a sponsored advert. That means nothing. And he's not on the printed edition. He's on the friggin' PDF that they send around. And they said, oh, but he's associated with Black Rock. And I said, no, it's not Black Rock. It's Black Block. And if you go to the website, myblackblock.com, you'll see a different website, not Black Rock. But because they pick names of like-minded companies, and it's the same with Wealth MD, Wealth Doctors Management. It's mywealthmd.com, not Wealth MD. And these companies were set up to defraud people. It just goes on, but they use all these tricky tactics and all the charities that they, Christopher's been in the White House and stood up. I'm sort of getting, anyway, after talking to him, listening to his story, it was gutting. And it was emotionally, it was just so hard to listen to. And, every day, like even today, I'm getting inundated with people who don't know where to turn. And we really are here for you. If you listen to that recording with Tyler, he's in a nutcase place. He deserves to go to jail for his involvement. He was meeting Christopher in Munich and drinking beer with him and celebrating Christopher's birthday, for God's sake. He was there with Alex. Alex is Christopher's personal trainer. Alex got fired one day because he didn't take Christopher's correct jacket with him to some event, and he fired him. And then Alex is now driving around, was driving around in I think it's a Lamborghini. And his mate that was his best man is Tyler. And we know everything about this scam. We know who's connected to who. We know why they're connected. But you can't sit by here and facilitate these scammers. It's like saying, it's like a bank robber, and he's got his getaway car out there, and you're giving parking directions to the bank robber's car so they can escape easier. You don't want to be involved in that. Anyway, what I'm getting at here, guys, I got this gift. And this is a Goliath Ventures T-shirt. And this is what is left of $720,000. It's a little bit more than that, we know. But I've got this T-shirt. So this T-shirt technically cost $720,000 US. So this is in New Zealand, this is a $1.1 million T-shirt. I'm going to get it framed by my mate James, who I used to live with a picture framer, and I'm going to put this on my wall. And it's going to be a reminder why we do what we do. And thank you for trusting me, and thank you for meeting with me in Orlando, because so many victims need to come forward. What normally happens is they rebrand themselves into another company. And we've seen this already started to happen. We've watched Matt Burke jump ship and now onto another company that's claiming the same type of rewards. So this is the beginning, I got told by the investigator. This is only the beginning. Chris is the first one, the first pin to go down in the game of pinball. Is it not pinball? What it bowling? You know how it works? Anyway, an investor who lost $720,000. The affidavit includes an example of an investor who lost approximately $720,000 despite being told his returns were guaranteed and that the investments could be withdrawn at any time. Now, this particular investor was unusual because every time they got paid dividends, he took the money off the platform. And then he rang up his upline, who had 900 people underneath him, and put the money back into the platform. And then when he got new dividends, he took the dividends out and put it back in. Do you know what's happening every time he's taking the dividends out? He's now causing a tax event where not only has he lost this money, he will now have to pay tax on the losses. And I hope he gets some good financial advice on how to handle that type of crisis. And I hope that because he was, helping the IRS out with their investigation, that things work out all right for him. And it's just gutting. I can't tell you too much more, but some of the detrimental effects that happened to this investor because of his investing in his personal life are just, it was really sad, and it's just, that's not what we do it for. What is what we do it for? But we don't want to hear the bad stuff. We don't want to hear how this affects you and what it does. So chain link, I've forgotten that fancy word.
Chainalysis.
And blockchain tracing. At the request of the IRS criminal investigations, chainless, I can't even say that word, I've just heard it, but I think you know it by now.
Chainalysis.
Government Solutions analysed the following cryptocurrency related to Goliath wallets. And according to the affidavit, so the interesting thing, which I did have up here a second ago, I just think it's funny because the document that is here has all been redacted, and I've got the original. So if you want the original, go to my website. Because they were asking how I actually managed to get my hands on this beforehand, which is quite a laugh. But it's not what you know, it's who you know, isn't it? So there's the original there, and I won't flash it on the screen again because I might get myself in trouble. I just wanted to show you these crypto wallets. So this is great. So what they've actually done to date is tracked as many of these crypto wallet addresses as they could, and that's all part of the watching what's happened on the blockchain and the like. Between traditional bank accounts and cryptocurrency wallets, but no meaningful deployed into liquidity pools. So even though they've got all this tracking of all these wallets and all the bank accounts, they could see nothing going into liquidity pools. Now, he stood up on the stage of Patrick Ben-David's and paid $1 million to stand up on stage, telling everyone that he's got a private equity investment company. And he told everyone that he does liquidity pool trading on places like Uniswap. And the reality of it is a load of bullshit, obviously. Now, what about people like Patrick Ben-David who endorse? Do they not have to do like checks on the people that they do? Imagine being an influencer on a stage with hundreds and hundreds, I don't know, it was thousands and thousands who went to that seminar. And there's a guy up there basically telling everyone on a microphone that he does liquidity pool trading and he wants people to have a passive income. And that's what he does. Now, Patrick Ben-David, is he facilitating scammers? Did he not do credit checks? Did he not do any background checks on Christopher? Or did he just let everybody in his audience be vulnerable and maybe they started investing? Now, on the 1st of September, one guy that reached out to us invested on the 1st of September, and on the 3rd of September, the company got shut down. Another investor invested $500,000 a day before he realized my videos. And then we managed to freeze the Bank of America account. Well, no, I didn't freeze it. I told the bank, blah, blah, blah. What I'm getting at is they were still getting newbies in, even at the late stage after September, because we would hear people had just invested and then they would find my videos because of the freezing of accounts. This was not a surface review. It was a forensic blockchain analysis. Victims, I'm just going to get this read. I won't do all the numbers, but let's have a listen.
Identification and federal contact information. The DOJ case page confirms that victims identified by law enforcement have received notice under the Crime Victims' Rights Act.
Yeah. Oh, Rob, nice to see you here. I hope the operation went all right. I haven't seen you for a wee while. I don't know if you've been keeping up what we've been doing, but it's lovely to see you here today. So that's really nice. I just wanted to have a wee look at the homepage because I'm curious. 82 people watching me. Oh my God, I've never had that many people watching me. Wonder what I'm doing here. So you don't really need to go to my tiny URL stuff now. We've sort of done the investigation here, but what I really do like about this is people always asking. So we had young Tyler ringing up here going, how do I help investors? And I go, oh my God, you're a nutcase. But anyway, if you are an investor and you don't know where to turn, feel free to reach out to us. If you go through my blogs, you'll find my Signal email address. What do you call it? My Signal address, and you can communicate with me. I've inundated at the moment with emails and everybody. Yep, and I've just been told some big company wants to interview me, which is really nice. And I know you're watching this right now, so good on you for asking me for that interview. I want to be interviewed by everybody. My bigger picture on this is actually I want to be a speaker and talk about Ponzi schemes and scams and how they work and how these people use lifestyle marketing to lifestyle marketing to promote these get rich quick opportunities. So there's some places that you can email, and there's also some other things there. So personal note. Now I haven't read this. I got ChatGPT to help me with this personal note. So let's see if I agree with it. A personal note. Shortly after this became public, I received a phone call from Homeland Security asking how I had obtained a copy of the complaint before they had finally circulated it internationally. And I'm going to actually address that because that's really, I was told directly, this is just the beginning. When federal investigators say that, people should listen carefully. So if you think people like Tyler who sit there and they think that they can stand beside people that are committing fraud and wash their hands clean and walk away, this is not true. The head investigator told me that this is just the beginning. And I've also been invited to go to America again and have a beer with the head investigator. And he just gave my team of Avengers accolades of really nice, sincere stuff. He thanked us for our work. He was amazed at the intel that we have got. He's apologized that it isn't a two-way street, but that's the way they work. And I said, I get it. And I understand, how this works. But it's so nice. I mean, maybe I want to grow up one day and be a policeman or an investigator. In fact, what we want, the Avengers, we're talking about this and I still need to monetize this somehow. This has actually really just put me back financially. I'm just going backwards all the time. But what I would like to do is lawyers to reach out to us, and my team, we can do amazing open source intelligence investigations. And that's what we do. You give us a phone number, we'll find where you live. That's really what we do. And if you watch the video that I put in there a wee while ago of my trip to America, when you click on my videos, the next video that's going to be featured is this one here. And it really is a Danny and Goliath moment. And we really did do an amazing job. But this video here will show you my trip in America. We even can say, I've got to play one thing that happened.
We got to do this all over again, right, just like by the hotel.
Which just says we can turn around. Now there's yellow things here, Rich. So this is a clip that happened while I was in I can't even say it, San Antonio? I have to get the name right.
San Antonio.
San Antonio. Why? But Richard has been an Avenger. Richard was watching a YouTube video, and my team of Avengers at the time was storming into. No, he was in a Zoom meeting, and Shavis Anwar, a guy that had a stroke, trying to blame me for it, and also tried to allege that he was doing a $300,000 lawsuit against me because I caused him to have the stroke. That's right, you heard that right. Basically put my phone number in the Zoom meeting and told people to ring me up and harass me. Richard was one of those people who believed that We Are All Satoshi was a genuine opportunity. And I persevered, as all good Avengers do, and I keep corresponding with him until we actually got him to see that We Are All Satoshi, which is a Sam Lee project, another $1.9 billion scam, who was incarcerated in Dubai for 60 days and now set free, now is a washed up loser, going by somebody I know from a big, large newspaper who interviewed him. Anyway, long story short, Richard was a believer at the time, and we spent the time, and now he's an Avenger. When I went to my destination, I can't say it, I can't even say the stupid name.
San Antonio.
Richard drove across land in his 18-wheeler truck, fully loaded, for 7 or 8 hours so he could pick me up from the airport. The only problem was I was quite a long way from the airport. Well, he had to park in Burger King because you've got a weight restriction if you're driving an 18-wheeler truck into the airport. Long story short, he picked me up, and then we was leaving the car park where he was parked, and this is what happened. He's good at backing back.
No way. What are you doing? You're going to back up?
I'm going to back up.
I thought you were. I was going to say that's impossible. Mathematically.
No, I can do that.
It's about 2 o'clock in the morning.
That's too much turning.
Yeah.
Why not just back up? It's easier to back up.
All right. So we've got a mirror here.
You have to watch this.
That's what's happening.
That's why I always send pictures of the sunrise and the sunset, because it's the most simple.
How do you know where the trailer is?
I'm watching the mirrors.
I can see the same mirrors, but I don't see no trailer.
Yeah, because you're on the wrong angle.
Oh, okay.
You're not even looking at my mirror.
You're right.
Yeah, so this will speed up.
All right.
What's this place? Brevity Coffee. You want to just park here till they open?
Choices.
Right? I want to find you something to eat, man. I'm
Yeah.
trying to tell you, they ain't nowhere open.
I just had a slice of pizza all day long.
All right, you got to watch this, guys.
That's all right.
I mean, for a start, I'm sitting here thinking, how does he navigate an 18-wheeler truck fully loaded through all this car
And
park?
look,
Like I said, I got TV dinners in there, but you won't eat that stuff.
yeah, that's got that meat stuff
It's
in
like
it.
chili or something.
Yeah. And look, we've even got a hello, Mr. Comfortable. And he's got a friggin' hat on.
Mr. Constable.
So I haven't seen the Constables with a hat on before. I think they're called sheriffs, aren't they? But have a look at what happens next.
Look at
He's
this.
the sheriff,
Look
and
at
you
this.
call him a constable.
Look at his hat.
Look at his hat, y'all.
It's like,
Oh, Denny's is open? No. The only Denny's in the whole country that's not open.
we've got
And look at that. It's right outside the Chase building, a Chase building.
one Denny's in Christchurch where I live.
They might actually be open.
So right there, he's actually got his gun drawn and he's pointing it at the driver. And I found out afterwards that he's just had a gun pulled on him as well. So I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I watch Cops and I watch Judge Judy and I watch everything to do with cops and robbers. And here he is with his gun pulled, pointing, and I'm in America thinking, oh my God, where have I just landed?
He's got his gun. He just took off.
Whoa!
Wait, we'll take the video.
Whoa, we got that on video, dude. Well, let's sit right here.
Move your head. Oh, how cool is that?
We got that on video, dude.
I know it. Look at this guy. And look. And the guy's taking off. Here comes the cop.
I'm gonna back up.
The cop's after him.
Totally got that on video,
Oh,
dude.
I cannot believe that.
Give me some.
Oh, we're still
Yeah.
going. Can we follow them?
You wanna follow?
That's amazing.
Let's follow.
He actually had his
Let's
gun.
go, dude. Let's go.
Let's go. Oh, he's gone.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, long story short, that's in my video that's going to release tomorrow. But what happened is we drove down the road 30 miles and I needed to go to the loo and I couldn't find the loo. So I walked into the ladies and I'm in there doing my business and the lady comes in and goes, you can't be in here. I said, oh, sorry. But in the meantime, the same police officers walked into the complex and Richard says, my mates and the ladies. And it was, and he said, oh, we got the video of this guy that was held by, you guys had at gunpoint. And they said, well, that was us. So the same officers 30 miles down the road, which is a long way in an 18-wheeler truck. And then we videoed them and we said, oh, we explained. And then they wanted the video in evidence. It just, every day I was in America, I met with victims. I teed up a whole lot of interviews with people. I think I had 6 interviews in total. And it was just one hell of experience. But that's coming out tomorrow. So, to us, this is just the beginning for the Avengers as well. Presumptions of innocence. So basically that's basically saying anything that I've just read It doesn't mean that Christopher's guilty. It just means that the federal government's coming after him with everything they've got because they don't believe he was doing what he said he was. So I'm just going to read that just to be sure.
It is important to state clearly what the Department of Justice states clearly. A criminal complaint is an allegation. Every defendant is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty in court. That legal standard remains. But what is now undeniable is this.
The United States government has formally charged Goliath Ventures as operating a $328 million Ponzi scheme, that liquidity pool representations were materially false, that dashboard returns were manipulated, that investors' funds were cycled internally, and that millions were used for potential real estate purchases. This is no longer a liquidity delay. This is no longer an MSB approval issue. This is a federal criminal prosecution, and it marks the most significant chapter in Goliath's saga so far. More developments are expected, and this story is far from over. Well, normally at this point I go through all these blogs, but look at the blogs that we've done. They claim that we were doing a smear campaign. They had a bookkeeper running this $500 million company. Still believe it's a $500 million scam. We just haven't had everyone documented yet. This is all they could find so far with people that have been sitting there waiting. So all those people that have invested in Goliath Ventures now come forward. Let's get this up to what I believe it is. It could be $500,000, it could be $1 billion worth of fraud, but you need to come forward. Don't be ashamed. And you've now got an email address where they will keep everything quiet to do that. So the bookkeeper, we even had Avengers, and I shit you not, sitting right next to Nadia Bringus with her laptop open, and literally right beside her was one of my Avengers. Not an investor. One of my Avengers was sitting right next to her while she was going through, had her laptop screen and doing work. Isn't that incredible? That's what happened. We also had one of my Avengers who managed to get their way into the party they had on the 10th of December. And I'm not talking about the venue. I'm talking about sitting right next to Jason Derulo. They didn't have a ticket. They didn't have an arm bracelet. They managed to get in there using our techniques. And it's just unreal. And if you watch my video that's coming out tomorrow, you will see, tomorrow or later on, fake audits, missing, these guys, Matt Burke, Piers Curry, no qualifications, giving financial advice to people. We couldn't find anyone that was qualified. In fact, what we found is firemen, policemen, realtors, all promoting this large Ponzi scheme and scam. A lot of them are red-faced now trying to say they're victims. Are not. You need to go after these individuals. Your sponsor is also need to be indicted. There's already been 4 lawsuits filed, one in federal court and some of them in Broward County. Clawbacks. So what's going to happen? All these people that receive donations, unfortunately, clawbacks are ringing loud noises now. Security questions, unregistered security problems. The contracts, are they legal? They shut down the company on the 3rd of December. But the good thing about some of the lawsuits, we've seen that they've done the Goliath Ventures Inc. in Wyoming and also Goliath Ventures Inc. in Florida. Remember, on the 3rd of September, they shut down the company, reopened it in Wyoming. Why would they do that? Then we did a blog about what real funds look like, a real fund company would look like. And then we talked about, all the lavish gifts, the girlfriend's handbags, how many of those are going to be done? Then we had photo shoots with Kalpesh Patel, Ron DeSantis, Andrew Tate's involvement. When I found out Andrew Tate was involved with this, I just about went, oh my God, here he was on a cruise ship with 3 other, in Croatia, 3 cruise ships, 3 businessmen 50 businessmen who all believe they're above the law. And we heard rumors that Andrew Tate kicked out the Goliath brothers because he wouldn't want anything to do with a person like Christopher because of what's happened right now, of course. But they kicked the Goliath boys out of Andrew Tate's, what do they call it? I've forgotten about his exclusive club. So I wonder, and then we've heard so many rumors that we can't verify everything, but all these people like Tomo are going to be sweating right now. We've heard that a lot of the boys have bought apartments. Well, one boy that we know of has bought an apartment in Dubai. We know Tomo has been doing shady business practices with his aspired rejuvenation clinics. There's a lot more to come. I got sued, right? So I just showed you earlier on that I got a legal document this morning from the alleged court case. They don't have any jurisdiction over me. However, they're still trying, which is unreal. They even went after my YouTube channel. I received actually in total 4 copyright strikes. I've received 11, I think, copyright strikes since I've been doing this investigation. They went after my website to denial server attacks for 2 months solid. My website now is protected by Google Project Shield, which is a service that I've been told costs about $30,000 a year. Google provide protection to people who do journalism like I do. Websites that have a voice that need to be protected by denial server attacks is literally what they do. But these are the dirty taxes they did to stop me. Then we had a $380 million crash of crypto, and they held a webinar to calm the farm, and it was meant to go for 45 minutes. It went for 12 minutes, and no one could talk. No one could see who else was in there. They might as well put a video on Vimeo. But that's what happened. They lost $380 billion and said that didn't affect them in any way. And that was why I've always said the reason why it didn't affect them in any way, because it wasn't doing anything on crypto. It was just doing a money swap, internally shuffling money around. So then we've got, then we had the $150,000 bribe. So you can go into all these articles if you're a news reporter, click on those and you'll find the actual documents they sent me or even had delivered to me in person. So then we had another guy who rang up who basically put in $500,000, and then we started investigating where he got the money from, and it looked a bit shady. So then we did an article about whistleblower versus opportunist. Banking breakdown, we talk about how they were claiming their banks couldn't handle the growth of Goliath Ventures. That was when they went from JP Morgan to Bank of America. Then we started investigating the Bank of America stuff, and we had inside contacts there. Everything that we do is under the radar. We go through the back door and we knock on those. We hunt the people down that work in those prominent places in the bank, and we have a quiet word on their shoulder, and they go to work the next day and do an investigation, and then they shut down these bank accounts. Director of Administration at Goliath Ventures, Steve Davis. Absolutely funniest thing ever. Steve Davis, if you go to my YouTube channel, and if you go here, you can listen to the videos, and in here, you will see this one here. 3 weeks ago, Steve Davis versus Danny DeHeck. Absolutely he was absolutely an idiot. If you ever watch any of my videos, do listen to that one there. But Steve Davis paid for a sponsor advert in the Business Insider magazine. We complained to them, they took it down. He got it back on. We complained, they took it down, and now it's still down. He's a fireman. And in the video I'm going to release tomorrow, you'll see me outside the fire station, contemplating whether I go in there and ask if they know Steve Davis. He was a fire chief, 20 years. He's got a book. He said 7 reviews, 2 of them are bad. These people are bad. They sit around smoking cigars all day long. Anyone that's been there endorsing them, like JB, you know who you are, we've just put everything into this investigation, and we've been totally vindicated. And we're going to come after other people running Ponzi schemes and scams. So if you find out the Avengers are investigating, you're in trouble. Payout stop. Insider pools. So insiders were getting paid in the last minute. So October, November, what's the months of the year? October, November, January, December. Whatever it was, I forget. I don't know. I literally do not know the months of the year. You don't think I'm kidding, don't you? But I don't. But anyway, we found that even though they had frozen payments, some people were still getting paid. We talked about Andrew Tate, how he lost a whole lot of money doing liquidity. What do they call it? Liquidity. I've forgotten what they call it, but there's a special liquidity pool trading. I don't know what it's called. No, it's not liquidity pool. There's a special name for it, hyper-liquid wipeout, whatever. Anyway, the type of trading he was doing with crypto, he lost $1 million. And because they were on the cruise ship with Andrew Tate at the same time, I sort of insinuating that this might be where Christopher thought he'd have a go. And if so, he's lost all the money, just like Andrew Tate did. The December breakdown, hide your wallets. Oh, yes, this was the Christmas party. Oh, there's so many blogs in here, even I can't remember them. There's Tomo telling everyone to do social media posts and use the hashtag Goliath Strong, and that's when Grace Grieta, the realtor, left, and the brotherhood was falling apart, and Tomo was trying to keep that brotherhood together. I've received numerous messages about Tomo at the moment. He's definitely a policeman that needs to go to jail, so to speak. And then the biggest one that really broke this investigation, and we started to get a lot of people coming forward, was on the 2nd of December, they sent out a newsletter basically telling everyone that things are going to resume to normal on the 15th and 18th of December. But instead, on the 12th of December, they held a $5 million party. Jason Derulo came along, sung his to his lungs collapsed, his tonsils were singing joys. And long story short, nothing happened. And then people realized they'd been duped, even though they went and celebrated. So one of the guys that I met actually went along to that YME event, maybe just to see some hope that his money was going to start getting paid again. Collapse. Yes, we're looking. I can't even remember some of these blogs. It's been a bit of a whirlwind. Story of control, delay, and retreat. Before the collapse, how Goliath Venture was built. So we did a historical look at the beginnings of Goliath Ventures. People were doing exit strategies and then losing control of the back end of Goliath Ventures portal after we were told. Exits. What have we got here? Another email. Oh, yes. And then we got Eric Clayman sending out emails like he worked for Goliath Ventures. And then we had, just recently, we had this one here was actually recorded when I was in Washington, D.C. So this blog, I set myself up my recording studio in Washington, D.C. And I actually did this broadcast from Washington, D.C., which if you look, you can see that the colors of my face are slightly different than they are today. And then the bombshell was we saw this one amazing lawsuit come out, and I did this one in the hotel room at, I've forgotten the name of the place it was now. It was Shingle Creek, Rosen, Shingle Creek. And I had this massive, which you'll see in the video I'm releasing tomorrow, this massive, I don't even know how to explain it, massive room I had, but I did that, and you can see me recording it, and in the background you can see that I actually had NBC News on in the background, and some people found out that I was in Orlando and started publishing that around the place, which was pretty cool. And today's blog obviously is about the arrest of Christopher, and so that's basically us done on Goliath. We're on to our next scam now. So all our investigations are done with open source intelligence. So publicly available records, archive web pages, corporate filings, domain name data, social media activity is a big one for us, open block transactions. And we don't do hacking, unlawful access methods. And then if you want to know about me, well, I think I'm going to have a few more articles written about me in the not too distant future. Hey, that's basically me. I'm exhausted. I am truly exhausted. I just don't know how to say thank you to all my Avengers. This is not something that I do by myself. I just have amazing people helping us fight these scammers, and we can basically, we're open to be hired by anyone that might want us to research anything. We're not going to give you a breakdown of what is legit and what isn't. That's not what we do, but we do highlight the red flags. We find people who have made extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. If somebody comes along to you and tells you that they want your money and they're going to pay you 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8% return on your investment, and mathematically speaking, in 18 months, you're going to break even, that's just absolutely batshit crazy to even believe that. And hindsight is a wonderful thing, but when you've been doing these investigations for 5 years, I certainly know why the New York Times call me the crypto Ponzi scheme Avenger, because I name and shame individuals who run or promote large-scale Ponzi schemes and scams, and it's a shocking thing. Now, I've had lots of chats. I've actually met four of my Avengers face-to-face over the last 2 weeks. Not all my Avengers know who the Avengers are. Some people, I don't even know their names. Some Avengers, when I said I was going to America, hid. They didn't want to meet me in case their identity gets exposed. And I don't want to know their identity. Everyone goes, oh, where's such and such from? And I go, I don't know. I don't know. But I do know we all share a common interest. We love what we do, and we love helping people not get defrauded by individuals. Now, if you're entrepreneurial, I'm actually I'm a serial entrepreneur is what I used to call myself. I start up little businesses and I sell them off to people who want to be entrepreneurial. I like creating little side hustles for people. And that's what I should be spending the majority of my time doing. But this is what I really want to do. And I've always said to people, if you can find something that you're good at and do it to your best of your ability, you'll never work another day in your life. Now, I've had money. I've lost money. I've gone through divorces. I've gone through health scares where I didn't know whether I was going to wake up in the morning. Literally, I lost 9 kgs in a week. I had a burst appendix and it all got infected. And I didn't think I was going to make it. Nor did a lot of my family and friends, but I did. So what doesn't break you makes you stronger. If you've lost money to this, I'm sorry. The young fella, I'm going to call him a young fella because he was younger than me, who lost $720,000 or more to Goliath Ventures. I looked at him and said, you've got this. You can do this. You can get through this. 60% of the people that we know actually are repeat investors. That means they will look for another opportunities. And these predators that are out there will tell you that we're the real deal. And they did this wrong, and they did this wrong. They'll be offering you very much the same deal. Stop. Listen to your friends and family who are telling you not to invest in these Ponzi schemes and scams. Don't be a victim anymore. We need to create as much awareness as we can about these opportunities. This is the fastest I've ever seen anyone get an indictment and locked up and the key thrown away for 30 years. I've got nothing against Christopher. I don't know who he is from a barrel. So apparently his girlfriend thinks he's a lovely individual. He's one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. Well, if I ever find myself, unfortunately, in the prison, I'll be looking out for Christopher and looking for this lovely guy, because I'm sure he'll be telling everybody in the prison that he was a victim. Don't be a victim. Go after these LLC companies that were paying you the dividends. They were the ones that were handling the money from Goliath Ventures. They were giving it to the LLC companies, and then they were distributing it to the investors themselves. They, in my opinion, have been committing money laundering. And now Chris has been charged with money laundering. It's a no-brainer. So all these people that haven't been indicted yet, and they will be, because I've always said I want to see Nick, Matt Burks, and Piers Curry in jail. And also, I want to add Eric Clayman. I want to see a defense attorney who had let's say a defense attorney who was writing contracts in finance, who was also an investor. That is a conflict of interest. And a defense attorney who's writing emails for a company that is now one of the biggest Ponzi schemes in America. Isn't that disgusting? And now he washes his hands. And now he's been sued by, there's a federal court case where people are going after him as well. How are these people going to escape it? Well, on our watch, they won't. As my head investor said, this is just the beginning. Be brave. Reach out to me. If you've missed all the correspondence that I've put on there about how to reach out to the right people, please do come to us and we'll make sure that you guys get the best help you can. But don't let this eat you out. Money, easy come, easy go. I've had money. I've got no money now. But honestly, guys, don't let this eat you out. And stay away from online investments. If they mention crypto, blockchain, liquidity pools, anything like that, it's just too good to be true. And as my mum always said to me, if it sounds too good to be true, it is. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. And just thanks to my Avengers and thanks to law enforcement who actually did something about this guy and got him off the streets for 30 years. See you guys.